What if I told you there's a way to legally stay in Norway for up to a year while hunting for your dream job, even without having a job offer first? Most people think you need a job lined up before you can even think about moving to Norway, but there's actually this little known route that could be the way. So stick around because I'm about to break down everything you need to know about Norway's job seeker residence permit. Maybe this is the immigration strategy you need to keep your eye on. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Adasa for Jackpot.ng, and we cover all immigration news, immigration tips, jackpot stories about Nigerians living outside Nigeria. So here's the thing. Norway has this permit. It's called the Job Seeker Residence Permit, and it's specifically designed for people who want to come to Norway and actually look for work while they're already there. Okay, now before you get too excited or confused, let me be clear. This isn't for everyone. There are some pretty specific requirements you need to meet. First off, let's talk about who this is actually for. You can't just be anyone wanting to move to Norway. You need to fall into one of these categories. Either you're a recent graduate from a Norwegian institution or you're a researcher. That's your starting point. Now, where it gets interesting is if you're a student who's been studying in Norway, whether at a university, vocational school, or even upper secondary school, and you're about to graduate or have just graduated, you can apply for this permit before your student's permit expires. The key word is before. You need to apply at least 1 month before your current permit runs out. Don't wait until the last minute because that's going to cause you problems. Here's something really practical that most people don't know. You don't even need to have your diploma in hand yet. If you've submitted your final thesis and completed all your credits, your educational institution can give you a confirmation letter stating exactly that, including the date you submitted everything. That's enough to get the ball rolling. But what if you're not a recent graduate yet? Well, there are other paths. Maybe you came to Norway to get additional education, so your foreign qualifications could be recognized. If that's you and your education is recognized or about to be recognized, you can also apply for this job seeker permit. Or perhaps you're a researcher who came to Norway with your own funding, or you were working as a researcher at a Norwegian university or research institute with a skilled worker permit. In both cases, you can transition to this job seeker permit before your current one expires. Now, let's talk money, because this is where a lot of people get caught off guard. You need to prove you can support yourself while you're job hunting. We're talking about having at least 25,839 Norwegian krona per month. So that's roughly 325,400 krona for the entire year. And here's a kicker. This needs to be your own money, typically sitting in a Norwegian bank account. But here's a little flexibility they've built in. If you manage to get some kind of job while you're searching for your ideal skilled position, that income can count towards this requirement. So say you're working part-time at a cafe while hunting for that engineering job, and that cafe income helps meet your financial requirements. And speaking of qualifications, let's get real about what skilled worker actually means in Norway's eyes. You need one of three things: a completed vocational training program of at least 3 years at the upper secondary level. Think carpenter, that kind of thing. But there has to be an equivalent program in Norway. Or you need a university degree like a bachelor's in engineering or nursing. The third option is what they call special qualifications. Basically, you've gained skills through extensive work experience, possibly combined with some courses. But here's the reality check, okay? You generally need at least 6 years of work experience, and you have to prove you can do the same work as someone with formal education in that field. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Getting approved through this route is tough, and many applications get rejected. Now, what can you actually do with this permit? You can work full-time or part-time while job hunting, and that includes jobs that don't require skilled workers. So yes, you can take that cafe job I mentioned earlier, but there's one big restriction. You cannot be self-employed or run your own business. You're not there to start your own company. You're there to find employment. This permit lasts for a maximum of 1 year. And here's something important to keep in mind. This time doesn't count towards permanent residence, okay? If you decide to apply for that later. It's essentially a gap year for job hunting, not a step towards permanent residency. One more thing about family. If your family members already have permits and are living with you in Norway, they can apply to renew their permit. If everyone applies at the same time, you get your answers together, which is pretty convenient for planning purposes. Look, I know this seems like a lot of information, but here's the bottom line. If you're a recent graduate from a Norwegian university or a researcher, this permit could be your pathway to staying in Norway and finding the career you want. The key is planning ahead and making sure you meet all the requirements before you apply. If this video helped you clarify Norway's job seeker permit, hit that like button and subscribe for more immigration tips. And hey, if you're considering this route or have questions about other Norwegian permits, drop them in the comments below. I read every single one and they help me make better videos for you. I'll see you in the next one.